Oh, yes, I should have thought, let's call the meeting to order at 9:18. And we'll start with the approval of minutes from the March 11th, 2020 Communications Committee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Do we have anyone to do a second?
Second, Ellen.
Thank you. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we are having a much different meeting from what we've done in the past, but we have a lot to share. So we'll start with our updates. And the FHS Building Committee tagline, I don't know if we've talked to our communications support about this. Has anyone had a conversation? Or,
I don't think we have yet.
okay, because I know we had some good ideas, and but I think that we want to do make decisions in collaboration with Tall Timbers.
Yes, agreed.
And just as an update to that, everybody, there was approval from the building committee at our last meeting so we brought that to the recommendation of the subcommittee to the larger building committee, and it was approved for those of you who weren't in attendance. So we are moving forward with getting that contract underway.
And that really does move into the next agenda item, which is the survey. So Kat, can you just give an overview of what we did talk about at our building committee and how we're approaching the survey?
Yep, so I do have some more updates since then. The survey was approved to move forward with the Center for Research and Public Policy at our last building committee meeting. So I actually do have a signed contract with them already. Our plan was to, in April, work on the questions, and a lot of it would be to update the questions that we had from the previous survey, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And then the idea is to have the survey in May with results by June. So we're looking to move forward. I actually sent him all of our communication subcommittee dates and thinking of having the next subcommittee meeting, which is, I believe, April 8th, as kind of the survey kickoff meeting. So a portion of our meeting would be to have Jerry from Center of Research and Public Policy on the obvious virtual call, and kind of start moving forward with that.
Are we doing any type of paper survey or no? Because I know that was a suggestion at some point, but I didn't know if.
Yeah, we had talked with Tall Timbers Marketing about in one of our newsletters also having a paper survey so that it is reaching every household as well. So I think the two of them, you know, the phone one with their specific methodology and how they're reaching out to get a survey size sample, and matching that to the last survey is important, but then also giving people, everyone in the community, the ability to respond with their feedback and gauge their interest as well.
I think that's a really nice way of going about it, because we are not only doing more of the research-based survey, but also really asking every resident for their thoughts and opinions. So I think it's a nice way to go as we go forward, and we're looking for feedback from the community. So on our video tour, any updates from Scott?
Yeah, the video tour is a little quiet right now, Kathy.
Yes, I know. I didn't know if
you know,
anything was done in a way that we could at least put something together, but
yeah, I'm going to talk to Evan next week. You know, I guess the thing I was wrestling with that I was hoping with feedback, we didn't get all the footage in the building, and I'm not sure if it's, I mean, I wanted to get a sense of if we think it would be effective to get, you know, there's obviously hardly anybody in the building, you know, there's, you know, 6, 7 people there possibly on a daily basis at this point, you know, at least until the end of April, but, you know, perhaps further as well, I'm not sure. But, you know, is it worth it us just grabbing footage with with nobody there too. I mean, we can certainly do that. I think that would be easy for us. I have another video update too, but I guess I'll get feedback on that first.
Well, I wonder, and this would maybe be a different approach to it, and we could even have a little narrative at the beginning on the screen saying, due to COVID-19, we were not able to do actual video coverage, but we could do, we have lots of photos. So we could do like a photo after photo with a voiceover.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that potential too, and I think people would understand that, you know, we just, it is more effective, I think, when you see students in the building and you see some of the challenges we have with our, you know, the number of students we have and how that enrollment will increase. So that's just a thought. We could think about that.
Yeah, you know, maybe what I can do is I'll reach out to Diego too to see if he has other ideas with an empty building. It's probably another good idea. And then Evan and I will speak next week about that also. Additionally, on the video side, I spoke to Costa, and he is still willing to do the video. And so I guess it would just be up to, you know, I said, you know, I had suggested doing like a, you know, you can record a Google, as we know well at this point, or maybe a Zoom cat. And he actually said he'd be happy to come to the high school and film it in the Edge Lab, provided that we meet social distancing guidelines and things like that as well. You know, with you know 3 or 4 people in the room. So I don't know. I guess that would have to be the comfort level of everybody for what they prefer. But he said he's happy to do that. So I told him I would be touching base with the committee at today's meeting and then get back to him with what we prefer for that. But he's happy to do a sit-down interview in the lab as well. And he said we can do that when Evan is in next week if we like.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's whatever the preference of him and the staff that would be doing it. I mean, we're happy to do a Zoom meeting if that's easier for everyone, but if everyone's okay with the Edge Lab.
Yeah, I mean, as long, I would say we probably couldn't have 3 or 4 people in there just given the guidelines. So it would probably be like Evan and the person, you know, and Costa. That's what I think, you know, because that would meet the social distancing. And maybe he, you know, we'd have Costa just read the question and then answer it. You know what I mean? He could do something like that instead of having like a side-by-side interview. So I think it's his choice and Evan's choice. I would leave it up to them.
Yeah.
Okay. But we'll pull any interviewer off at that point then, and we'll just have the video and him as a participant, correct? I mean, I would be fine if I'm there sitting and asking the questions too. I'm okay
you have to, right, but you'd have to
be 6 feet apart.
So that makes it a little difficult. But you could also be just verbally asking the questions from a you know what I mean? Either way, it's fine. Yeah.
All right.
This is Beth. I wanted to jump in on that. I think, between Diego and Evan and kind of the experts on the video production side, they could probably come up with ideas for how to make it maybe look like whoever's asking the questions, if it's Scott or someone else, is right there with Costa, or some sort of voiceover like you mentioned, Kathy. But I think that their expertise would probably help with that.
In refreshing my memory, did we create a list of questions? Well, I thought we started that last meeting. I apologize. I'm trying to
yes,
recollect.
we did. Yep.
Okay. Kat, do you have those by any chance?
In my office, and I'm at home, but I can have Devin find them and send them to me.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Thanks. And then I'll reach out to Diego and I'll work with Evan, and then we'll figure out the best way to make that happen. I think that's, something important that we probably want our community to see and be aware of. And so we'll try to find a way to make that work in our unique situation that we all find ourselves in now.
Hey, Scott, if they need anything this is Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm awesome, thanks.
If there's kind of a visual interest kind of thing, I think any of us would be willing even to record a question.
Oh yeah, that's
You know what I
great.
mean? Something like that. You know how you see that now? We're seeing that online all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of these things we're seeing on TV. If you need us to record a question, that somehow provides benefit. I think there'd be any of us that would be happy to do that if that makes sense.
Super, super. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think Ellen also has a question.
Hey, hi. Will the committee be able to see I know we were thinking only maybe 3 to 5 questions for Costas, but will we be able to see the questions before you do the interview?
Yeah, I can send them to everyone
Okay.
on the committee for review again before we finalize them.
Great. That would be helpful.
And just on another note for the video piece, I think anything we can pull together, I mean, I know that's what you're working on, Scott, but we have kind of almost a bit of a captive digital audience at the moment, where I think people are willing to be in front of their computers right now. And, people's email boxes, I think, are pretty active. So anything we can do to use that to our advantage, I think is beneficial. So,
Kat, do you think we can throw up the maybe on our different social media platforms and then maybe on the webpage? I was thinking if the committee's in agreement, the compilation video that Megan showed when she presented at the council, I think that's probably a good short clip that we can get out there just in the time being. Maybe get that back rolling around to make sure everybody knows we're still active up and running with this. And then I can work with Evan and see what else we can put together.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. I'll put it up this week.
Thank you.
I think that we could also potentially reach out to some people with a question, just so that we could start, I think it was really effective to have a release of a video every week or so. And so when we think about, because we're really jumping to 7, phase 2. So I do think maybe we start to think about those that we would want to potentially just say a few words, and then we could keep them and decide, is this a good time to release this question, or is it a good time to release, this video with this particular question? So just a thought of, we don't really want to lose a lot of time, and we really, at this point, I think we just have to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And what would be the best venue to do those, Kathy? Like in a Google Hangout or?
I mean, you can do it on your phone. We could give them a list of options, I think. Maybe Evan could give us some guidance of like, what is the best tool to use to get the best quality video? And then we would have some consistency too. So maybe creating like a little guideline and technical support, and then here's your question, and the person answers that question, or why are you in favor of this project, or whatever the question might be.
Awesome. And that's something maybe when I call Diego too, we can maybe like put something out like, hey, if you're interested in creating a video around one of these, we should probably think what those questions might be that we'd want people to respond to at this point. It could be as simple as, can you tell us why you're, why you support the project? And maybe people can record those on their own and send them in to us. Or are there specific people you're thinking about tapping for that?
I think some people had shown some interest in doing that, and could be some elected officials that want to have their voice heard too. So I think could be a combination of both. Like does anyone want to do a video? But I also think it's reaching out to certain individuals elected officials, or maybe different organizations, something like that we could actually reach out to specific people. Again, I think all of this we'll talk over with our communications expert, but it's just a thought that in this different way of communicating and having meetings, we should probably shift to a new way of doing this, so we're not losing time.
So Scott, if this helps, or if you think makes sense, why don't I take a stab at least doing a preliminary list based on our conversation of the people we think, or at least organizations we'd like represented,
Okay.
and maybe even a couple questions that we can use it as template just to give us a starting point for the conversation.
Yeah, that would.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, that would be really helpful. And then, you know, once I have all that, then I'll make our phone calls and reach out to Evan too. And whether it's the end of this week or when I'm back in the office next week, we'll get going on this so we can make some progress. I think that's a really good point you made too, Megan, about the captive digital audience at the current time.
Yeah. Yep. But I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'm certainly not going to be the only voice in that conversation, but at least it gives us a starting point for us to have some additional conversation, people just to add to as we have more ideas.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, number 4, we're going to hold off on. That is scheduling FHS building members to community events. So that would be on hold at this point. How about number 5, side-by-side photos? We've had this on the agenda for a while and it was a great suggestion. I just don't know where we are with it at this point to kind of show the difference between a newer building and sections of a newer building compared to what our students experience in the FHS building.
This is Matt. We have them, Kathy.
Okay.
I can share the folder with you guys so you can see them, but we do, TSKP did provide us with quite a few.
Oh, great. Okay.
This is Cara. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So I basically loaded up just a ton of pictures to kind of get a sense of which ones resonated the most. So if you wanted to take a look at that, and then if it makes sense and I need to actually do some side-by-sides for visuals of, you know, spaces of the high school currently and put them next to it, but we have so many pictures, and if there's something missing, I want to know what's missing that we might need to see that I can dig through, because we just have oodles of pictures. So just let me know what I need to do, you know, moving forward with those once you get a chance to look at them, and I can keep going.
So how would we want to do that, Matt? Would it be something that we share the folder, or because I know you're extremely busy?
I just shared the folder with you and Meg,
Okay.
and I'll share it with Kat, and we can probably have a conversation of, you know, if you want to poke through them for now,
Okay.
then have a follow-up conversation about what we might want to do with them.
That makes sense. Thank you. All right, Kat, so the newsletter update, that number 6.
That one is, we had a draft and then we were holding for the communications consultant, Tall Timbers Marketing, to come on board. We are finalizing a contract with them. They submitted their scope of work and language, and we just want to add in our boilerplate language and, you know, insurance requirements and all of that. So we're finalizing that to get them on board as soon as possible.
Okay. We already did number 7, number 8. Well,
that one's kind of on hold too.
That's on hold too. So why don't we go to other updates? We did just have our neighborhood meeting, and we're moving forward on trying to set up a virtual meeting with neighbors. But any other updates, Meg or Kat, that you'd want to share?
We did have, I know this is, I'm not sure if it's going to move forward, but we did schedule a coffee with the committee at Starbucks for April 25th. Starbucks I know is closed right now. I'm not sure if and when they're going to reopen. So I think that's on hold as well. So hoping that we can still have that, but if not, they'll be flexible and we can coordinate something later in the next month or a couple months or so.
Any other updates? No? So this is a very quick meeting. Everyone all set before we adjourn? Okay.
Yep.
So, oh, someone had something?
No, I was just agreeing. I think we're
Okay.
good. This is Beth.
All right, so motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we are adjourning the meeting at 9:38. Thank you all so much for joining us.
All right, have a good day,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Yep, bye, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.